the variation in the interval contains information.
That's
it's
a clever way.
Yeah.
It's not bad. If we're going to theorize for a second, I don't want to hop ahead to theories, but to just quickly theorize for a second.
Have at it, because we're almost there.
If we were to say that the Black Knight satellite were, for instance, an alien spaceship that was stranded or something of that nature, right? That they were not powerful enough to exit our orbit, but also didn't want to die on their entry in or whatever, trying to send a distress signal. If they're basically a dormant ship, that'd be a really good, easy, energy conserving way, is to just hold one back, to not, you wouldn't have to actually broadcast a new message or anything like that. You just can delay it a little bit. I don't know.
Well, they're still broadcasting.
Well, it makes me think.
But the computer could be doing it.
What was that? They're all dead. Yeah.
What was that movie that came out last year? The Matthew McConaughey movie about space.
Was it Interstellar?
Interstellar, and one of the things that they do is he transmitted messages in binary code and stuff like that. I mean, that to me is in line with what you're talking about. Not exact, but it makes me think about that.
I didn't see it.
For
obvious
you should.
reasons.
It's actually pretty good. But watch it at home so you can control the volume, because the volume on that movie is terrible.
Nope. I will not. It's a movie about people in space, Steve. You know my thing about people in space.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Devin a DVD that says it's the movie Heathers, and I'm going to actually print on it so it says the Heathers. She'll be like, "Yeah, I'm going to watch Heathers," and then she's going to pop it in. It's going to be Interstellar. I'm totally going to do this to you.
And you got to program it so it disables the off button.
Yeah, that's the important part, because I will turn it off.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're a little off.
We're a little off. Let's get back to the story.
All right. So 13,000 years old. That's been up there a long time.
Yeah. Well, that's that. No, we're not going to do that right now. Let's move to the last big thing about the Black Knight satellite, which is 1998. So we're again skipping ahead in time. The astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour, which was going to go meet up with the International Space Station, the ISS. Or ISS.
ISS, yeah.
Sorry, I added an extra S. It's the ISS.
The ISS.
That's some other weird group. But they were going to go there because I don't remember what they were doing. At one point, they suddenly saw this strange black object out their window, and they took a bunch of high-quality photos of this black object traveling away from them. And if you go out on Google, you can find these images.
Any website that's about the Black Knight satellite has at least one of these images.
At least one, if not all.
Yeah.
And they always crop them up just so you can just see it, not everything around it. But you see a lot of it. And now, everybody's favorite time.
Theories.
Let's go into the theories. And we've talked about the first theory a little bit, which is, okay, it truly is something extraterrestrial. And I think that I've got a little guff for this in the past. It's not that I don't disbelieve in aliens.
You don't believe in aliens, though.
I believe in aliens. It's just a lot of things that are automatically attributed to aliens strike me wrong because it doesn't make sense. But I'm going to suspend that.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about this. I don't understand why something like this would be circling the globe for so long, basically doing nothing.
No.
Well, but we don't really know that it's been circling the globe that long.
Okay, you're right.
We don't
know how long it's been there. According to what we evidently in the 50s is when we figured out something was up there.
So 60 years, okay, and then you can just go ahead and assume it's possible that a lifespan isn't the same, right? Their time scale isn't the same. Also, there's something to be said for gathering data. And you want a big sample source for that data.
It might be a robotic probe and not actually people by aliens.
And the thing that I had to, this is the way I had to deal with it in my head is, okay, well, we keep hearing stuff about it disappearing and it changing its course a little bit. So maybe it's a little shy. And it's happily rotating or circling the globe. And then, oh, look, a couple of rockets pop up because I need to get out of the neighborhood. So it's got to have some kind of control, pushes itself farther away from the planet. look, the rockets are gone. Yay! Comes back in. Oh, now we're, us humans, in space all the time. So it has to stay farther out to keep from being detected. So I can see if it is an information gathering thing and it doesn't want to be discovered, I can see why that would be, but it's still weird to me that the orbit has changed so much.
I guess I don't have that problem because I choose to disbelieve the reports of the orbit changing that much.
There's also that.
I mean, there are consistent reports throughout time, right, that it's been essentially the same orbit.
Essentially.
Right. Versus like a few outliers where it's just people who are clearly describing something else.
Exactly.
Who are saying it's the Black Knight satellite. So it's not a problem to me that it would just be in the same orbit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I can run with that.
Yeah.
And we've already gone into what the reason for the LDEs would be.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to hash that up anymore.
Not really, but you're right. I mean, it could well be that the whole point of that thing was just to wait until we started popping up rockets, and then its job is done. Now it just notifies home that we've achieved a level of technological advancement to where we can actually put things in orbit.
And then it tells home and then gets
home
out of
and
Dodge.
It either runs away or it fires its retros and plunges into our atmosphere and burns up.
Right.
You know, one or the other.
Or goes dormant. Who knows? I mean, it could have been what burned up in the atmosphere over Russia the other year.
Yeah, last year, or whatever that was. Yeah.
I don't know. You don't know.
I think
You're
it would have.
absolutely right. I don't know that.
I think it would have done the job earlier than that, but because it would have detected all the radar waves that are used to track things in orbit.
Well, it might have waited long enough to make sure we didn't destroy ourselves.
How's it going to stop us from destroying ourselves?
No. Wait to make sure we didn't before reporting home.
We still could.
Yeah,
we still could.
Easily.
Yeah.
But
well, as far as extraterrestrial origins, it actually could, and this is entirely credible, it could be extraterrestrial, because extraterrestrial is just anything that's not on planet Earth and not of planet Earth. So imagine it's just a small asteroid or a meteor, something like meteoroid, that just happened to come along and get caught for a while in orbit around, that got lassoed into orbit around our planet in a highly irregular orbit. And you would expect that if something got nabbed.
Things don't just naturally go into perfect orbits.
No, they don't. They're not going to go into they're going to go into a very erratic orbit like this one. And so it's entirely possible that something came along and wound up in orbit around us for a while, and then just eventually its orbit deteriorated and it plunged into our atmosphere.
Or it finally got slingshotted away.
That's possible too. Although it sounds like this thing was in a fairly stable orbit from the way people are talking about it.
The way people are talking about it, I think, is an apt description, which
the way people
makes it hard to say that that's a concrete fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
but it sounds like it was in a stable long-term orbit, and then it's not going to suddenly slingshot itself away, but it will eventually its orbit will decay, and it'll go into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
So it could really be extraterrestrial.
It could just be a bit of space debris. You're right.
A bit of space rock. Yeah.
Let's move to the next theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make some people mad. I'm okay with that. When I say that the next theory is that it was made up for fun or to stir people up.
Mm-hmm.
And bear with me as I go through this, because you two know, but our listeners don't know where I'm heading with this in the images that I've shown you for the reason why.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, people do go on the internet and they make things up, or on a more mundane scale, they totally misinterpret something.
Yeah.
And then they shout it to everybody they know, and then that gets repeated as well.
We do that all the time.
Here's an example. I've seen there's an image out there that I've seen that is supposedly from Apollo 10 showing the Black Knight satellite. And I wasted so much time going through the Apollo 10 photos and not finding it. And then I started just going through all of the photos that were available from NASA. And lo and behold, I actually found the photo itself in its raw format.
Nice.
Yeah, I got lucky.
But NASA has a ton of photographs.
I know. I couldn't believe I found it.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe I found it. But here's the thing. I then wasted even more time screwing around with that image in Photoshop. Because here's the thing. The website that I have seen this on, there's a couple of them, say look at this alien spacecraft that is the Black Knight satellite that was found in this Apollo 10 image.
Mm-hmm.
The image has no date. It has no location that it was shot from. The image is not good quality. And I'm going to walk through some of these facts because these are the things that make our job so hard. So when I find a very blatant one, I have to call it out so people can kind of think what's going on when they're seeing some of this. So the exposure is really bad, but there's also stuff all over this image. There's water spots, and I found hairs on it.
Yeah.
Which tell me that it was a print and not a negative that was scanned in.
And you got this off the NASA website or somewhere else?
NASA website. Huge, 300 DPI res, huge image. It was, I mean, it was like 100 megs or something. It was god-awful huge. But if it had been scanned in from a negative, a hair would have been gigantic. But that wasn't the case. They were really small on the image, which means it has to be a print.
Okay.
Same thing with the water spots.
Or it could have been a
and
really
the
huge
dust.
negative.
Even on a large format negative, which I haven't heard of those being used in those early programs, that would be a really, really fine hair to be picked up. Like this, it looks like cat hair.
Yeah.
But when I put it in Photoshop and I adjusted it multiple times in multiple ways to correct the exposure so that the background, which is space, is the right color, which is black, this thing disappears. So I'm pretty positive that this thing was dust, or more likely lint or something. Plus, never mind the fact that this photo, it had to have been taken somewhere between the Earth and the Moon.
Yeah, for the size of the Earth in the photograph, it must have been at least a third of the way to the moon.